Well guys, the awesome spectacle of machinery that you see before you is indeed a 1979 Ford F250 Custom. This belongs to a former co-worker of mine, a young man about half my age, which I'm just trying not to think about that, but believe it or not, this is his daily ride. He is a welder by training. He does welding for my father-in-law, and this is his work vehicle, and as you can see, he's got her kind of set up there for mobile welding on the ranch in his spare time, you know. Now, he developed a problem. Actually, he's been ignoring a problem of a very noisy throwout bearing, he thought. It has escalated into you can't get it into gear anymore when it's running. Since I'm just sitting around most days twiddling my thumbs, I let him talk me into helping him out. Anyway, what I'm going to do, I'm going to warm it up so it starts, I hope, right off the bat, and then I'm going to try to start it in first gear and see if I can get this thing to move into the shop for me. If not, we're going to have to go to plan B. I'm going to have to call one of my family members there and maybe get the little riding mower out or whatever, or tractor, and force it into the shop. But let's see if we can get this thing running. Alright, I jumped in it the other day and I played around with it a little bit and it started right off the bat. Second. Nope. All right, it's starting easy enough. I'm just gonna try it, see if we can circle these trees. We got a lot of snow on the ground and it's melting, so I hope we don't get stuck on top of everything else. Okay, well that worked exceptionally well. It's in there. I need to push it a little farther. Hopefully I can. I would love to use my lift, but it does not like 3/4 ton pickups. And then, you know, everything else going on the back of this thing, we probably have the weight of a whole nother vehicle. So there's no way the lift is gonna lift this. So now for my favorite thing in the whole wide world, pulling a transmission and transfer case. We'll just do the same thing. Okay. I think it's the John Deere yellow wheels that really grabbed me about this. I helped this guy, I don't know, 6 months ago. He threw an HEI distributor in here. Of course, it had the auxiliary spark thingy, you know. How do I want to hold this engine in place? That's the next question. So a guy just spent about 10-15 minutes under the truck, you know, contemplating choices that he's made, and When I woke up, the pickup was still here above me. So that's a good thing. I guess what I'm going to do is just, you know, one bolt, one nut at a time, and just start chewing my way through it. Very, very slowly. Get the drive shafts out. Scrape some crud. Maybe fall back asleep. I don't know. Well, good morning. The tail end of yesterday evening, my mind started shifting. I think I'm going to do this a different way. I think I'm going to try to do all the work from the top side. So, instead of being on my back the entire time, with a drivetrain about the same tonnage as a Chevy Chevette looming above me, you know, I think instead I'm going to pull this engine out, which is not small either. I believe this is a 351. You know, there are really, all I have is a floor jack here to handle that transfer case and transmission. There are things like he installed some kind of modern, not really weather tech, but that kind of floor mat in there with a ton of, he cut it all up to fit the curves of the floor, and he's held down by the screws that hold tin on a steel building just into the floor. You know, I would have to undo all of that. The exhaust would have to come out. It looks like original 79 exhaust. That has been patched and re-welded a dozen times throughout the years. Obviously, either way, I'm going to have to undo things at the manifolds. But then more exhaust would have to come out if I'm working from the bottom. Bell housing bolts and inspection cover bolts, that's the same, no difference there. But I think really get the cooling system out of the way, get the power steering pump out of the way, minimal wires. I think it looks like 2 nuts on the motor mounts, and this thing would lift out of there. I'm no expert at these Fords. I've kind of, other than basic service, I've avoided them most of my life, you know. Maybe for obvious reasons, maybe not. Looking at it now, it feels like a great choice. As I said, I gave him a hand when he put this distributor in, and you know, I just helped him get top dead center number 1, set the thing in, we timed it together, and then I went away. Well, now I forget, I must have been around obviously, because if I was there for timing it, I was there for connecting it to the 12 volt supply. So you can see we just found the hot one from the old coil, and away we went. I may cut out a bunch of this before we go back together, just kind of minimize the confusion in the future. But I'll pull this all out of here for now. All kinds of stuff. I think that was the oil pressure center. I better label that so I don't snip it off. Oh, that's an original hose. Oh, well, I can't even cut through it. Come on. Oh. Wow. Okay. All right. That's looking pretty good. All electrical, fuel, all cooling, all vacuum that I can tell, ground wires that I can tell. Yeah, we're getting there. I did get the exhaust loose. I got my clutch connections taken out first. Sorry if this video is liney, but anyway. The actual hardware on the exhaust didn't come out too bad when I was using a 1/2-inch impact, so that's kind of a blessing in itself. Now I've got 4 bolts, 2 on each side, that hold the tranny to the bell housing, so I'm going to pop those out. The only other thing is electrical connections to the starter that I need to get under here, and then hopefully I can throw a jack under the transmission to hold it up and start hoisting the engine. Well, we should, yeah, we're still under 2 hours since I started this morning, and we should be ready to pull this thing out, barring any Fordisms. All I gotta say is you guys that worked on these for a living, and I worked for Ford for about 1.5 years, right around the Y2K. Never had to do anything on this particular engine, but anyway, God bless you. I think I'm gonna have to lift up a little on the left side of the engine block as well, because it's wanting to roll because of where it's hooked. So I'll go get a small ratchet strap and hook that up and see what we get. This is great. I love it. I got the engine out and I was looking at power steering pump and I was like, oh man, I broke the return barb off of this thing. And I was looking for the other end of the hose and I see we've got an air chuck, the nipple for an air truck, and I think he had that thing just jammed up in there. That's awesome. I wholeheartedly approve. What a mess. I am going to push this out. Okay. Oh, wow. Oh. Yeah. All right. Whew. Between this project and the Nova teardown, this poor old floor is suffering. The guy's gonna have to come in and mop it when this project is done. That just makes sense. What am I missing? There we go. There we go. Wow, that's nasty. Okay. All right. Ring gear looks okay so far. That's a positive. All right. Oh, what have we got? I mean, it's not great. Neither's that. I'm gonna lose my hardware here. All right, well, I'm a grease ball. The shop's a grease ball. Everything's a grease ball. It's what makes the world go round, I suppose. I have called in, let me look at my list. I have called in radiator hoses, a belt for the power steering, one size larger, rear main seal, don't even know what I'm asking for getting into that, but we have terrible leaks. Back there, 11-inch clutch, oil pan gasket, and, well, the clutch kit. I'm going to call back and see if they have a flywheel available. This thing is absolutely full of cracks. Otherwise, I would take it in and get it ground. We'll just see what we need to do there. Otherwise, I'm going to load up all the greasy parts, take them to Dad-in-law's, put them in the heated wash tank, and if this kid is at work, then he can babysit maybe his own parts, make sure it gets hot and washes them and does a good job. So anyway, it's lunchtime again, actually. Well, you know the thing. Okay, we're getting, uh-oh, maybe that's my parts guys. Yeah. Yeah, I could probably do that tomorrow. I'm 40 miles away, so. Well, you mean to determine which flywheel I need? Because, okay. What, can you tell me the inside? Well, so, okay. Yeah, that's, on this, that's 15.5. Okay. Thank you. Bye. Well, they nailed down what ring gear they have on the shelf. That doesn't mean they can get a flywheel, but that's something. All my usual haunts, that was Napa on the phone, my usual places, they don't have it. Can't get it. Man, this thing is filthy. Okay. Looks to me like Thunderbirds are go for launch. The guy had a huge mess going here. I tore down that 307 out of the Nova and actually just got back from dropping that off the machine shop. And I took in the flywheel for this thing. And those guys were nice enough to grind that while I went and got some lunch. So that was handy. Trying a different machine shop just for fun. I'm testing if I can get better turnaround time. I am 100% happy with the work done at the place I've been using, but their turnaround, they get wind that it's like a project vehicle, and you know, all hurry goes out the window, which I understand. They do a lot of industrial and irrigation type stuff. So, all right, well, there's our rear main. And actually, I don't know if that even looks, it doesn't even look wet, so I don't know if that's even been a problem. Now I can just pull the top half out. That might be a problem. I wonder, that kind of looks short. I wonder if that's all of it, or if that was torn. Yeah, there might be a little. I'm gonna have to run a wire or a zip tie or something through there and see if there's more up in there. Clean my gasket off and then we can go back together. Well, I ran a zip tie all the way through the cavity for the seal and went all the way around, so I think we were missing quite a bit of our original rope seal. I'm replacing it with a, no pun intended, BS, a Felpro BS 4 double aught 4.2. Kind of a modern version. I'm going to put the lip towards the engine oil, and I tried this just a little bit and it feels like it's going to go in without too much fuss, so I'm not going to have to loosen all the caps or anything. There we go. I want it just a little farther if I had something to push. Okay, let's try that. Now I'm going to clean up. It grabbed just a little tiny bit of rubber there at the very end. I'm going to clean up my mating surfaces, probably put just a tiny bit of Permatex gasket maker there. That's really all I have. And then we'll get our cap back on. Yeah, okay. There we go. Okay, now I'm doing things to where they're clean and acceptable, but usually I probably like to do a little more cleaning, more spray painting, you know, on and on. But the less labor we can spend on this thing, the better, and the less parts and supplies, the better. Obviously, I have a vertical takeoff engine here, and so I'm doing my gaskets a little bit different. I'm putting the Permatex solution on the gaskets. I'm going to let that just get sticky here for a couple minutes, and then I'm going to put them on. I've just very, very carefully, you know, I did this crud in here. I tried not to get in here, you know. All of this is clean and wiped down and not oily anymore. So I will stick those on and then do our end seals. And then this is all cleaned out. This has been through the wash cabinet. I flushed it out. Then if you have oily hardware, you're kind of doing a similar job where everything's a mess, but you're just trying to get it back together. You don't really care what the hardware looks like, but you want it clean. If you're not using gas, I mean, if you're not using gas to clean the oil off anyway, I don't know what you're doing, but you're not being efficient. Literally 30 seconds putting it in gas and just swishing it like the old timers with their Alka-Seltzer, you know, or their headache medicine or whatever they were, their powders, whatever they were doing in the cool old movies. 30 seconds and it's perfectly good, you know. Felpro played a dirty trick, and you can't see blue on both sides, or it won't work. Maybe you Ford guys are used to that kind of treatment. I don't know. Kind of strange, not that it really matters. Had a couple of little hook attachments for this thing that have been a failure so far. I tried this one. First one I've gotten any reaction out of. Looks like we're only getting the inner piece. This original, if it is, pilot bushing was a roller bearing type, and then the one that came with the kit is just solid bronze or whatever that is. I don't know if this thing's gonna open this wide now. Ooh, there's not much to grab. Maybe just cinch her down tighter. Oh. Huh. Right there. Huh. Oh, just click. Oh, thank you. Get in there. Do it. Do it. Oh. Getting this all going reminds me, I never even showed you guys what the issue was to begin with the old clutch. So let me get this hung on here and we will go out in the cold and take a look at the other one. It's pretty cool, actually. Pretty impressive. Now this guy admitted that this thing has been making noise for a little bit of time. I kind of guess that probably ever since he bought the thing and started driving it, it was making noise. That's okay, you know, he's low maintenance. Now the bearing is awfully dry and crunchy, but basically he has machined all the fingers on the pressure plate away to where when you push the pedal in, it wasn't even doing anything. It was just sinking, falling into the center of all the fingers. You know, you can see a lot of them are machined away here, and then this side, they're almost all completely gone, which is awesome. Man, it's windy out there, but as usual, we just ignore it. Got a brand new Wix 51515. That is a hard one to remember. There you go. I'm sorry guys, I've been half distracted today. I've been dealing with quite a few things. I've been to the chiropractor, been talking to the insurance agent, been talking to, we're having furnace problems. So I had to get the heating guy lined out and waiting for him. But just kind of been running around, not focused on car things. The outer shell of the pilot bushing that came out of there, I said I wasn't feeling any way to get these hooks hooked around on the inside. You know, I wasn't, you know. Anyway, there was I don't even know if an 1/8 of an inch edge exposed, sticking proud of the crankshaft there. And I just was patient. I took little vice grip slide hammer jobber and just you know, just went across from each other, and it slowly came and came until I could get these fingers behind it. But only then, when I got it all the way out, I saw, well, it does have machined spots. I don't know why I didn't feel that from the other side, but I guess all I would have felt, if discernible, was just a little bit of a tiny little hole in there. So it's probably no wonder I didn't notice it. But anyway. Bolts. Well, I played World's Strongest Man and pulled this thing in with my teeth, you know. So I'm basically ready to throw the engine back in. One thing I do want to do, however, is try to scoot this booster off to the side if I can. It looked to me like that would be ultra convenient for going out and going in. But I was too stubborn and lazy pulling the engine to do anything about it then. So I'll get this off the bracket. Got to disconnect the rod on the pedal in there. And then I'll try to throw that thing back in here. Oh, I got to get a jack under the transmission too. And I got to watch that running board bracket on that 40 frame. That's a shin killer. So one of those things that seems to cause some debate, perhaps it's a good discussion for debate and conjecture, conversation, philosophy, I don't know. For many people, especially, it seems like really among the boomer generation, so my dad's generation, pickups and trucks are two very distinct things. Not that I disagree, but then again, it is a socially acceptable thing to call a pickup truck. And I know myself on videos, I catch myself all the time, especially afterwards in editing videos, I will have referred to a pickup as a truck. And I'm wondering, I suppose for each individual, it's a different thing, it's opinion, it's what you grew up with. But at what point does a pickup in your mind cease to be a pickup and it becomes a truck? You know, you could have a half-ton with a box bed on it is typically what you think of when you think of a pickup. Let's say you go up to a 3/4 ton, like this for instance. I would assume if it still had the factory bed on it, you would call that a pickup. What if it has a flatbed on it like this? Has it become a truck yet? I don't think so. Not when getting in the minds of others that say that. But what about a guy that takes something like this, like these hotshot truckers that they have a 3/4 ton or a 1 ton pickup? They take the box off, all they have back there on the frame is the 5th wheel hitch, and they pull a gooseneck and they hot shot oil field stuff and whatever, you know, around the country. Used cars, you see them all over. That is purely being used as a truck or a tractor in the more even more literal sense, right? Its whole purpose is to pull a trailer and a load, so it is therefore being a tractor and a truck. So is the bed the distinction? Is the weight the distinction? Is the purpose the distinction? Yes to all of the above? What do you think? Well, I have probably easily spent a total of, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours trying to get this ding-dang thing in, lined up and going in. The input shaft into the clutch. I knew going into this thing, I really tried to convince him that if he went to a run-of-the-mill mechanic shop, that they could probably get him in sooner. Because I knew this would be a challenge, to say it on the nicest of terms. But he was adamant. He wanted me to do it. Goodness. I'm kind of in that place I need to walk away for a while. But I'm going to persist. I think I found a problem, I hope. And then we are going to fix it and move on. So let me show you what's going on here. So these single stud motor mounts seem like a great thing. Certainly for coming out, it's no problem. Going back together, if obviously, you know, if your cab wasn't on at the factory or a restoration, no sweat. You just plop it right on there, especially if your transmission's connected. Done deal. Or in this case, if we had an automatic, it would be simple. I went ahead and I dropped the right side mount, hoping I could get my engine low enough and at the right angle that I could slide things together no matter what I try. You can see all the scoring on this. Just everywhere I've tried to line it up, it's just not going. And through all that, unfortunately, I have misaligned my clutch disc with the pilot bushing and everything else, so I need to pop the bell housing back off. I'm going to leave my Z-bar mount off for now. That'll just be easier to get that all lined up when it's all together. But I think I found another problem, and I'm going to confirm it. Let me take this bell housing back off, get to my throwout bearing, and then we will confirm. I don't think they're actually misaligned. At least I haven't gotten that far. It looks okay. Sort of, when I look in there. I think what's going on is I was a little rambunctious, a little rowdy trying to get this all to go together, and the end of the input shaft kind of created some burrs on the splines of the clutch disc. Whoops. Don't know my own strength, I guess. Okay, well, in here, you can't really tell it from the top, but let me see if I can get you underneath. You see how chewed up that piece is. I'm not sure my throwout bearing was trying to slide on that housing. So I am going to clean that up, and then also I went ahead and took all of this apart just to confirm, and okay, that's getting better. I was filing a little, this didn't want to go on here. You see, it doesn't hardly want to come off now. So I'm going to keep cleaning these up with a file, and then I'm going to get some brake cleaner and a wire brush and just spend some time down here. And hopefully that does it. All right, this goes easy on there, easy enough. And this goes easy enough on there. So coat all the splines in Everseas or anti-sneeze or whatever you prefer, and try to do it again. I'm considering it a miracle that this thing came out at all. I cannot get the right angle between the bell housing and the transmission to get that thing started. It is ridiculous. So what I did, I now have misgivings over, but I've got to try something. I wanted to take the left side motor mount on the frame piece off, but there's so many lines attached to it, it just looks like a huge headache, even more of a headache, to undo all that and try to get it all set back once this is covering it. So on this side, I took off my rubber mount. I don't like that either. There's only 3 bolts. So hopefully I can sneak that in there. Once I have my transmission hooked up, raise the whole assembly angled back up, hopefully I can get it. I don't know. I really don't know. I want to be clear, just to settle this in my own mind. There are guys out there in the world that play around with these for fun, on purpose. I find that hard to believe. What, did you take some kind of blow to the head as a kid or something? Holy cow! It's now 11:20. I've been here almost 4 hours. Not to mention the, I don't know, 2 or 3 hours I spent on Friday trying to do the exact same thing, and now I've disassembled more than I started with. But I got it. They are mated together. I'm going to run home, get something for dinner. I'm going to come back and start putting engine mounts back together. Yay. Well, the guy is fairly knackered. My goodness, what a rough one. Guys, I know, you Ford guys, you know the secrets and things, but I could not crack the code with the motor mounts. I did finally get it. It was a struggle. And then on that side I had a 2x4 in there for another reason, and I forgot all about it, let it down, tightened down the motor mounts, the single stud, the nut on the stud, and only then did I realize that I had now made a 2x4 a permanent resident with the motor right up against the hot exhaust manifold, you know. So I got to undo my motor mounts again, lift up the front of the engine, get that out of there, and then redo it all. But I got the starter in, the exhaust in, the clutch linkage in. I think everything that was taken apart on the bottom side is back together, which thank goodness. So I'm gonna get busy after maybe a brief rest, you know. Get busy here. I got a different belt, so I've got to move the alternator, get that one off, then I can change out belts, then put that one back on. Power steering, all the stuff that we undid to begin with. I just need to find the gumption to do it. That's what I need, gumption. And this, it's kind of cool. 50-year-old hose from the booster to the manifold there. I'm taking it that's original, with original stenciling on there. Kind of cool, but you know, she's hard as a rock. Well, I think we are just about ready to give this thing a go. Replaced brittle, dried out. I think I have a good shot at this. I don't have any. Brittle, dried out valve cover gaskets. The booster line. I've redone the wiring and kind of pulled back a lot of stuff that wasn't being used. Unfortunately, neither Gates bottom radiator hoses that my parts store was seeing as options, neither one worked. The first one was a little better, but obviously I didn't like it, so I'm not sure what's going on there. I put the old hose back on, and I'll be sure to mention it to him. Got antifreeze in, get the oil in, hook the battery back up. And I think we're done. Test it, put the hood on. Only spilled about a pint, not bad. Alright, I know a guy's gonna need power steering fluid, beyond a shadow of a doubt. Go backwards. I mean, the door's closed. Seems to work. Put a little more adjustment into the clutch, but it works, and it feels like a heavier pickup of this era clutch. I mean, I don't know what more to expect of it than that. Okay, I've given him what power steering fluid I have, and got that working again. I'm guessing that's a regular maintenance item, judging by the return hose. Front brakes are also basically non-existent on this thing. You can tell in his truck box he has quite a few jugs of brake fluid. I topped off the reservoir, but I think he has some more work to do in the future. Knowing him, he's probably just ignoring it. It's about lunchtime once again. Boy, that rolls around often. I think I'm going to drive this puppy home and just make sure it goes through the gears. And then we may take it back to the old workplace and drop it off for him. All right. what do you think of this thing? You look scared, and rightly so. Yeah. Well, hey guys, this is certainly an experience driving this pickup. I think we you really got to pump the old brakes, and we sort of lost power steering there at the end. But you know, there were no leaks unless that air chuck thing came out again. I don't know. We'll do what we can, and I think I'm going to return it to him, and he can take it from here. So, thanks a lot for watching. God bless you. We'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye. Hey, where are you going? You gonna say bye? Yeah, she says bye. I think this thing's father was a freight train. It doesn't want to stop or steer. Holy cow. I like it. I really like it.